Let's face it, when you go online and you see a number of the different social media channels or different people who are easily found within the sphere of influence of things Messianic or even Hebrew roots, you're going to see a lot of instability. Whether that instability ranges from people who are insecure in their identity in the Lord, and they may emphasize an identity elsewhere, such as being found in Torah or being found in their Jewishness. Or you'll find a lot of instability because people go from teaching to teaching to teaching, trying to find secret nuggets or elements of perceived wisdom, which, well, let's face it, only they have been able to find, and they're the only ones who have it. So when people find a ministry like ours, Outreach Israel and Messianic Apologetics, they're generally very relieved, and they're generally very thankful that finally, we found somebody who is concerned about teaching the word. They're not going to shy away from different controversies. They're not going to try to sweep things under the rug. But they're concerned about me, and they're concerned about my stability in the Lord and my growth in the Lord, and wanting to resolve an issue which has disturbed me or has disturbed a lot of people, and they just don't know how to sort through this. So one of the things our ministry really does try to do, and I think a lot of people can testify to this, is we are helping to stabilize people, because things are only going to get increasingly more complicated as we get closer and closer to the return of the Lord. And one of the things I've had to sort through recently is how, as a ministry and even as an individual, we've had to navigate this path of, on the one side, encountering a lot of people who get sucked into Torah legalism, and they get sucked into, I'm doing the commandments and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and it's just absolutely devoid of divine grace or any kind of flexibility or perhaps even understanding of modern circumstances. And then on the other side, you see a lot of Messianic Jewish believers who overemphasize or are hyper concerned with their Jewish identity. And of course, nobody is saying that Jewish identity is unimportant, but what about your Messiah identity? What about being found in Him? And so one of the things I've had to, sort through is, whatever happened to being the hands and feet of Yeshua? Whatever happened to serving other people? Whatever happened to, being concerned about spiritual growth and spiritual needs? And indeed, some of the really good things which many of us remember during our time in evangelicalism. Far too frequently, they just kind of get lost. And yet that is where we find our stability. That is where we find our solace in times of difficulty. And right now, we're going through an interesting phase, an interesting time of development, one which a week ago I had no idea was going to be forced upon us, but was. And yes, I've had to say, Lord, I need to be stabilized. I need to be stabilized emotionally. I need to be stabilized professionally. And you're the only one who can do that. So we do our best as a ministry. We're human. Certainly, there are bumps along the way. There are things that we have to correct. There are things that we have to fine-tune and recalibrate. But above all, those who are stable in the Lord are going to be able to help others as the day approaches.